Yo, what is going on everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in today. My name is S-Line. In this video we are starting with a new build in Planet Zoo. This will be part of the conservation project as well. And this is going to be a restaurant which will be in that same area. We have like a couple photos that we'll show in just a moment to like show the inspiration of this restaurant, which is a spa resort in Austria called the Forsthofgut. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. Most likely butchered that name. But it's a resort in Austria, which is like open pretty much like the whole year. So for like a summer, but also in the winter. And it's like a resort more like for spa. Like we're gonna turn it into a restaurant. And of course, like the resort itself is quite big. So we only really focus on one building, which is like the building in the photos. And it seems to be like a cafe or restaurant already. So it's more like a build along, so to speak. Of course, it will not be the same as on the photos, but we just like take inspiration. And it's more going to be like the shape of the building. It has like a couple wings here and there, and also one or two buildings on the top level. And that is what we're going to be creating as well in our build in Planet Zoo. So currently we are making a very rough foundation of like where the walls and the glass windows will be. It's like a little changing here and there because at some point during the video the pillars are a little bit off. Still not quite sure why that like happened. I think I made like a mistake here or there with like lining them up properly. We fixed that at some point though, so like not to worry. But it's a little bit like finicky at some points, but whenever it's like in place where it needs to be, we're making some pretty darn good progress, I gotta say. Because usually I'm a very slow builder, and at some point we kind of made like some decent progress along the way. And yeah, it's very nice to have sort of a change in pace at some point. Because yeah, like overall I'm a very slow builder, so to have like a build going a little bit faster than normal is a very nice welcome, of course. Nonetheless though, I'm fairly certain that this project will still contain a whole bunch of videos altogether, because the amount of details that we put in this build is quite high. And I gotta say, this is like one of the most amount of like decorational figures of what we've been doing. Because of the making of this video, we're still like not even finished with the build. Like still plenty to do all round. And it's more, yeah, the amount of details that we put into this. It requires like a lot of time. And also like the placement of the restaurant itself is quite something. Because the restaurant in terms of decoration will be more to the left. But the building itself where the guests need to go to get all the food before they teleport to the table that are on the left is more on the right. So it's quite like a mix of where everything is placed and how it's all going to be working. But like the left side will be the decoration for the restaurant, and like the middle of it, so the entry point for the guests to walk to the restaurant building, will be like for a information type of area, with like a couple signs here and there, and more to get like a basic understanding of like the area. Because of course, also with this building, we are keeping the conservation in mind, because that's like the whole project. So that's what we want to sort of achieve also for the guest perspective. It's like how to treat nature, and also how to like live together, coexistent with each other. So for this video, it's going to be more the foundations of the building, so like where the walls are, and also with like a little decorational on the side too. And that's more in the building that we're going to be placing on top of this sort of foundation. And there'll be like one of the buildings that are like the same as the photo. That building will like decorate very slightly to give some sort of an idea of how the other buildings will look like. But like for the next couple videos, we're going to be like diving more in depth in like the decorational aspect. It's more like whatever the foundation is finished, then we go like all out on the decoration aspect. And also going to be like once more changing a couple things that have been made with the foundation, because like that's usually how we do it. It's like a rough foundation, and whenever that's finished we change things, or mostly add things which require some change of the foundation. There you go, that's a better way of saying it. Also during the build of this restaurant, and those are of course live over on Twitch, I will leave a link in the description down below which will redirect you to the Twitch channel. If you haven't followed already, feel free to do so. You'll get like notified whenever the next stream is live. And we do play a pretty darn bunch of Planet Zoo once again after like a fairly long break. like full steam ahead on this build. But I got a couple questions there on how I plan these type of buildings. And also like with the amount of gameplay that I show in these videos, I once more try to add like as much as possible into this. So you get like a basic understanding on yeah, how I make these buildings sort of yeah, together. And how it's like all planned. And yeah, hopefully this video helps on that aspect. More to sort of see yeah, the starting point and where we sort of get at the finished product and how it sort of looks and the steps in between taken to get to that point. Also, if you do have like any questions still, like after the video or like in between the video, do not hesitate. Feel free to use the comment section below. If you have like any questions and yeah, like what on like build and also the planning aspect. And if you do have yeah, some questions, feel free to ask them. I will try to answer them like as much as possible and also as detailed as possible. Because of course, with like showing things in videos is a lot easier to explain than just with words. But yeah, do not hesitate. Feel free to ask all those questions. But for now though, I will leave you all with the remaining of the speed build. Hopefully you will enjoy as always. Links in the description down below, which will redirect you to the Twitch channel, but also the Discord channel, where you can like show all the builds that you've created yourself, and also with other questions, you can ask them in Discord as well. So for now, thank you all so much for tuning in, and hopefully you all enjoy the video. I will see you all later. Have a good one. Bye bye.